The night of May 8th, 2020, around 2:30 a.m., a house invasion in Wichita, Kansas, was caught on home security camera tape. Anaya Robinson, 15, is seen sleeping on the couch in the living room with the television on, before a man who had just broken into the house appears from around the corner. When he notices Anaya on the couch, he doesn't move. Instead, he stays inside and just stares at her. This happened for a few minutes until Anaya woke up. Upon seeing the man above her, she screamed for her mother. This caused the intruder to flee, and Anaya's mother immediately called the police. However, by the time they arrived, the intruder had gotten away. Oddly, the man didn't steal anything, and the family thoroughly searched the house but found nothing missing. This raised concerns about the man's true intentions, but since this video is the only piece of evidence pertaining to the incident, police weren't able to determine what exactly he was trying to accomplish that night. How he entered the house that night was also unclear, and his identity is still a mystery to this very day. April 2022. In San Bernardino, California, a couple would catch this footage on a home security camera installed in their bedroom. The man who had just broken into the house moments earlier walks around the couple's bedroom as they're sleeping next to him and silently rifles through some of their belongings while covering his face with some sort of cloth. At other times, he just stares at the couple as they're lying there. Later, he would be caught on camera as he opens the front door and lets himself out while their son and his night nurse are still asleep. A few minutes later, now captured on the doorbell camera, he is seen returning. However, by this time, the night nurse had awakened and noticed him at the door. He would then politely inform her to lock the door, since it wasn't safe to keep it open. Taking his advice, she does without realizing that he had just broken into the house through a slightly open window.
Okay, thanks.
The window was left open to keep medical equipment which was used to help the couple's son breathe cool. The man had initially entered the house through this window. The next morning, the couple noticed their wedding bands and some cash missing, which led them to review their security footage. Police were able to locate the individual using DNA evidence, and he is currently being investigated for committing multiple additional crimes of the same sort on other properties without security cameras. This incident took place in February 2017. A mother in Billings, Montana, awoke in the middle of the night to a notification on her phone. The phone was synced to a baby monitor she had installed in her infant daughter's room, and whenever there was enough motion detected, the system would send down a notification. On this particular night, when she was alerted, she would open the app expecting to see her daughter awake and walking around her crib, because that's what caused the notification. But instead, she would see a man on camera she didn't recognize. When she noticed this, she put down her phone and hurried to the room to get her daughter. When she entered, she didn't see anyone, but she wasn't really looking. Instead, she grabbed her from the crib and fled straight outside the front door. She then called the police and waited outside for them to arrive. When they arrived, they searched the entire house thoroughly, but they didn't find anyone. The intruder had left. The only thing the mother had as proof was the still image she was able to take of the man crouching in the room. Since then, people have attempted to brighten the image to get a better look at the man so that he could be recognized, but to no avail, because it is simply too dark. The police are still unsure of the man's identity and how he entered the house because there was no signs of forced entry. An extremely curious discovery was that nothing but the remote control for a dog shock collar was taken from the home. There would also be nothing further that would occur after the break-in. Who this man is and how he got in the house is still unknown. A couple in Cincinnati, Ohio, would learn this firsthand when a baby monitor they used for their 10-month-old daughter was compromised in the middle of the night. The mother had been awakened by the sound of a man's voice coming from her daughter's room. She then opened her phone to view the baby monitor's live feed. When she noticed the camera was moving, but she wasn't moving it from her phone, it was doing it on its own. The couple would rush into the room, and that's when the camera turned from the couple's daughter to the couple themselves. Hastily, they unplugged the camera, cutting the feed.
Sound asleep about midnight. All of a sudden I heard, it sounded like a man's voice, but I was so asleep I wasn't sure. About the time I saw it moving, I also heard a voice again start screaming at my daughter.
It's difficult to believe the whole situation was just an attempt to get some sort of reaction from the couple, especially considering it was a baby monitor camera that was being hacked. But ultimately, there's really no way of knowing for sure what the intentions were. This home security camera in Overland Park, Kansas, caught the home robbery of 21-year-old Katie O'Connor. However, this didn't happen while she was out. Rather, she was at home and was being held hostage while the robbery was taking place. In the bottom left of the screen, you can see a man holding her in a headlock.
Don't move.
Oh my God.
While another man and woman take her belongings. All she can do is watch. What's more unsettling, as it turns out, the woman walking around the house, named Cheyenne Watts, who was also an accomplice in the robbery, was considered a good friend to Katie up until that point. Earlier this day, when Cheyenne went up to Katie's door, she was obviously allowed in without question, because the two of them had been friends for a while and had even planned play dates for their kids. However, Katie was completely unaware that this time Cheyenne had brought two other men with her, and the three of them were planning to hold her hostage.
It's just court. It's just...
Oh, damn, love it. Where's the camera? Shut the door and lock.
Please, I need...
Where's the camera?
Oh my God.
Lock the door. Don't say nothing. Where is it?
It's on the wall.
Okay, where's the video footage, sir? Where's the footage, sir?
It's Wi-Fi.
Where's the footage?
It's not there. It's wireless.
Get the hey.
I'm not trying to get this right now.
In her own home while robbing her. Eventually, the man who was holding Katie in a headlock would notice a cord and assume it was connected to a camera in the house. They locate the camera and point it away from them, but fail to unplug it. It really wouldn't have mattered anyway because the whole thing was already being uploaded to the cloud directly.
No. No, don't put this on the camera. Really? You're gonna try and make it look like I'm...
Shut up. Everybody's talking to you. Shut the up.
Since they didn't unplug it, you can hear them start to argue as they realize there is nothing more they can do to prevent the film from being stored on an off-site hard drive. Finally, they disconnected the camera, but it was obviously too late. The three continue the robbery nevertheless, and in the end, they make off with a set of tools, a safe, and money that Katie had saved up for her education and rent. Fortunately, Katie was able to escape the situation without being hurt. Cheyenne and one of the men were discovered and detained by police, but the other man, the one who had Katie in a headlock, has not been located. This video depicts footage from a family's home security camera that was installed in their living room. At first, everything appears to be normal, but the man in the footage then starts to hear the song "Someone's Watching Me" play. It's not coming from the TV, and his wife claims she isn't playing it.
What is that?
They're on company.
What was that noise? I heard, like, singing.
Huh?
Did you change the ringer on your phone or something?
No. I didn't change anything.
You didn't hear that?
I didn't hear anything there.
There. What is... You hear that? Stop it. I know you're playing a game.
Heard what?
Somebody's watching me!
My phone is in my purse. It's not you?
I swear to God, it's not me.
It's not me.
I always feel like somebody's watching me, is what it just said. That song, which is kind of weird. Seeing there's a camera over there.
There's something, but it's coming from the TV.
Yeah. And it was, I always feel like somebody's watching me, that song.
Somebody listening, that stupid ass thing.
There it is.
You're crazy as in coming from your camera.
However, it turns out the song was coming from his camera. Someone had hacked a live feed that included audio controls and started playing music that in this context is pretty disturbing. There are numerous options for how to accomplish this. This video isn't the only example of this. There are many other similar videos online. Most camera feeds are broadcast online through applications that allow anyone to access the camera with the right credentials. And some applications make it shockingly easy to bypass this even when they don't.
What's the song? What was the song?
I would feel like somebody's watching me.
It's coming from the camera. How is that even possible?
Other methods like phishing and various social engineering attacks can be used to grant someone access. These kinds of recordings have been shared by numerous YouTube and Twitter accounts under the term IP camera trolling, which is a bit of a rabbit hole. Many of them will play music in an effort to elicit a response from the camera owner, but others will speak into the camera in an effort to elicit a response. For example, they might comment on what is happening, enter a conversation, or try to frighten the camera owner by speaking in a ghostly voice. These reactions are then posted online for others to see. Many people think it's a harmless prank. It's pretty common, and there are even tutorials out there. I mean, there's no way everyone getting access to these cameras is just looking for some funny reaction these days. While not all of them are obviously done with the wrong intent, and this is much more dangerous just to touch the surface, people could use access to these cameras to collect images and recordings for blackmail or extortion purposes. Even though many of these accounts and videos have been deleted, things like this continue to occur. Anything connected to an IP network may be accessible.